This is Mrs. Fan, and this is the recorded video for week 11, day 2. Now, please keep in mind that as you're watching the video, we do have a slightly different schedule for the odd and even period. For the even period, you have a longer class on Tuesday and a shorter class on Wednesday. And for my odd period, you have a shorter class on Wednesday, but then a longer class on Thursday. So just keep in mind that we might not get through all of this material in the video for some of the class, and for some of the class you did went through all of this information in your class. But on Friday, we are going to have a time to review, and we will also have a time for everyone to catch up to be on the same pace. Now, one of the key things that we want to talk about today is to see whether you have any question on Zoom. Please keep in mind that we are still logging on to Google Meet every day for this week and next week. We are still meeting on Google Meet this week and next week. So you will not find a Zoom link on your Google Classroom because you are going to get the practice Zoom link when you log on to Google Meet. So make sure every day we are logging on to Google Meet. Here are a few functions that we practice in class. We practice logging on to Zoom. We also practice using the reaction button. Some things that we find as we are practicing through different class is that the reaction button might locate in somewhere different for each computer or each browser. Some people they are finding on the very bottom next to share screen. Some people you have to click on participant and then you see on the bottom of participant. And some people they have to click on more to find it. So it might be located in somewhere slightly different depending on which version of Zoom that you're using. We also practice using the chat function. And one thing that we see is that in the chat function, now you have two options. You have the option to either message the whole entire class, or you have the option to message me directly. So you have two options there. We also tried the breakout room functions. And in the breakout room, what we did was that we have a few minutes where we were sharing in a groups of 3 to 4 people, including your name, elementary school that you attended, favorite things that you did, and also what you know about weather and climate. So those are some things that we were practicing in class. So again, if you were not in class yet, we will be doing more practice. If you feel that you want to meet with me privately, please let me know, email me, and then we can schedule a time to meet privately. We also did a few check-in to see how you are feeling about Zoom. We know that this is something is new for you, so we did do a few check-in both yesterday and today to see how you're feeling, as we wanted to see whether there's any questions you want to answer in Zoom before we move on. Now with that, I want you to take a minute to think about weather and climate. Aside from Zoom that we are practicing, in the coming 2 weeks, we are going to be discussing more about weather and climates. So to begin with, how do you think weather and climate are different from each other? Take a moment. You can think about it. You can write down on a piece of paper. Write down what you think weather is on one side and what you think climate is on the other side. Again, you don't have to log on to Peer Deck. You can just write down on a piece of paper what you think weather and climate is and how they're different from each other. Go ahead and pause the video and write it down. Now that you have written down what you think weather and climate is, let's take a look at this video. Again, the link will be in the description below. It is a 2 minutes video. After you watch the video, do you have different thoughts about what weather and climate is like? Take a look at what you wrote down earlier and add to what you have already. Is there anything different? Do you think what weather is like or what climate is like? Go ahead and take a moment to write down. Now that you have some time to jot down your idea, let's take a look at weather versus climate. So right here on the left, I have weather, and on the right, I have climate. So right here, weather is the short-term state of the atmosphere, like raining. Okay, we may have days that it rains, days that it's sunny. For example, tomorrow, based on the weather forecast, it is going to rain in San Mateo tomorrow, on Friday. Versus the climate, we are looking in a long-term pattern of the weather. We are looking in across of, for example, 30 years. In the past 30 years, how was the weather like? What was the temperature in the past 30 years? Here's another diagram that I want to show you. Again, weather is talking about, for example, Saturday is raining. Sunday is going to be sunny. Versus on climate, we are taking a look what was the average temperature for each month in the past 30 years. Let's take a look at some more examples. Right here, it say it will rain on Tuesday. This is an example of weather. It says that it's going to rain on a specific day. Now, but when it talks about rain, it's not just about weather. It can also be climate. But you can see that the way that they put it is different. For climate, if they talk about rain, they may talk about the average rainfall, or they can talk about that through May through August is the rainy season. So based on a long-term record, on average, that is going to rain between May to August. So again, right here, in weather, they talk about a specific day, versus in climate, they're talking about a more long-term state. Here's another example. Tomorrow, there is a 30% chance of snow. This is an example of weather because they talk about a specific day. They mention that it's tomorrow. On the other hand, climate, maybe Minnesota has very cold winter. Or perhaps they would tell you that what is the average snowfall in January. We'll take a look at one more example. The temperature this afternoon is 76 degrees Fahrenheit. This is an example of weather. Now notice they talk about temperature and they talk about specifically this afternoon. On climate, on the other hand, you notice they also talk about temperature, but not just the temperature of a specific day, but the average temperature for a long period of time. In this scenario, they say average temperature since 1937. So this is 76 degrees Fahrenheit. So even though both of these are talk about rain, they both talk about snow, they both talk about rain, but again, weather is a short term. And versus climate that we see is describing the temperature or precipitation in a long-term average. Tomorrow when we meet again, we are going to go through weather and climate, and we will also be doing a Kahoot on weather and climate. With that, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.